something he told me that guests had been woken up in the middle of the night to an old lady standing over them shouting, "Dig."
Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome back to episode 37 of Your Ghost Stories. Today we have a special guest that you may remember from episode 11, The Diary Under the Floorboards. All the way from downstairs in my living room, and not watching Friends for once, a big warm welcome back to my partner and baby mama, Sammy.
Our living room, but thank you.
So welcome to the show, Sammy. You're otherwise known in paranormal circles as the Samsonizer?
Definitely not. Please don't use that nickname ever again. Idiot. I don't even have a bad nickname for you.
So we had a fun day, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Visited, went to Lavenham.
Yeah.
About 30 minutes from us.
Yeah, so it's Lavenham, a place in Suffolk, I think it's otherwise known as historic Lavenham. And it was kind of like just going back in time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Very old, crooked houses. I think what took my fancy is one of the houses was used in Harry Potter.
I think a couple of them were actually. So there's
the
orange one that's called the Crooked House,
the
which we
Crooked
saw from the
House.
outside. I think I posted a picture on the Ghost Stories Instagram.
And the National Trust.
Yeah, and the National Trust one, which is called the Guildford Hall. Is that right?
Yeah, that's the one.
And so the Crooked House was a fun one, and it's got lots of ghost stories, and also where the rhyme "there was a crooked man in a crooked house"
you
came
said
from.
that. I've not looked it up to see if that's actually true yet, but you did mention
Google
that.
said it, so. Can you take me seriously sitting here?
In your boxes? No. Although it's bloody hot in here, so I'm not surprised.
Well,
you just done that so I take some of my clothes off. Because I'm sitting here in a jumper sweating.
Well, just for the listeners at home, I'm not just sitting here in my boxes for no reason. Just before we sat down to record this episode,
You had an incident.
Yeah, I pinched, my belt pinched under my belly.
Aww.
And now I have like a little blood blister thing.
You got a sore tummy.
I got a sore tummy.
Because they really wanted to know that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I thought I'd join you. Took 37 episodes to have me join you actually hosting rather than telling my story.
You've been gagging for it, haven't you? Like,
I just wanted to sit up here with a glass of wine, but you told me strict instructions. I can't move.
For weeks, you've been begging me to come back on the podcast, haven't you?
Well, yeah, I thought it'd be a good idea. I'm just downstairs trying to be quiet whilst you're chatting to people. But no, you said I can't move because the mic's extremely sensitive. So sorry if I.
And we've currently got our 10-month-old daughter's playmat as a sound barrier between us. So we're kind of giving each other side eye, trying to have a conversation.
Yeah.
But yeah, today was really fun. Yeah, so like we say, we went to Lavenham in Suffolk.
Check out a new place and some haunted ghost story.
Yeah, and I think out of all the places we've visited in the last few years, this is honestly one of my favourites. And I think after being there for about 10 minutes, I remember saying to you, I'd just love to live here.
If we were rich.
Yeah, if we were rich. I think the cheapest house we saw it wasn't bad, but it was not a lot for your money.
Yeah. 2 bed, $500,000.
Yeah, well, you saw that other one, the flat, I think it was like $250,000.
Yeah, there was some more affordable, but
yeah, it wasn't nothing special at all. But yeah, some of these houses,
place.
Like just driving into this place was just stunning.
It's like going back in time, to be fair.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah, and like these houses are what
15th century.
Yeah, some of them even earlier. I think they were.
Your ghost stories. Your ghost stories.
But yeah, so we went, first of all, so I did a little bit of looking online before we went to see what kind of ghost stories and stuff were in the area. And the first one I came across was a tea room. And
Hey, can I just say that I know that you're really excited to go places when I know there's loads of ghost stories, because then you're like gagging to go, and there's obviously a reason behind it. The tea room, what was it called? Oh, I know this because it's Tatum.
Tatum's
Do you
tea
know why I
house.
know that? Because I remember Channing Tatum.
Oh, of course you did.
So I thought, oh yeah.
How would you forget him?
Oh.
But yeah, Tatum's tea house or tea rooms. Make sure I get that right.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Just little building, and I saw when I googled it, it said about the owner, the recent owner. I think she took it over in about 2021.
Yeah, it was
there
just before lockdown. I remember reading.
Yeah, and there was an article on her. I think it was in the Suffolk Live or something, and it was saying she was basically saying about how since she's had the place, there's been plenty of like ghostly stuff, ghostly happenings, like doors opening, and just hearing noises upstairs and footsteps on the stairs and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, for that reason, had to go check it out. So we took our little one and we went for a little day trip. And the first stop was this tea rooms, Tatum's, and yeah, it was lovely. Just as you walk in, just tiny little cozy.
All the exposed beams, and
Yeah, stunning. Yeah,
it was really lovely. And can I just say the hot chocolates and the
Mm.
food was amazing.
Yeah, so yeah, we went upstairs. I left a little pram downstairs, went up the stairs and just like checking it all out. And I'm just like trying to sneakily record some videos without looking like a weirdo to all the other people just sitting there eating and drinking their cup of tea. And yeah, honestly, if anyone wants to go there, really recommend it. It was just amazing service. They were so
It was
friendly,
lovely.
and just the place was just stunning and just beautiful.
I can't really remember the backstory as to why the place was haunted.
No.
Can you know? But
I don't think there necessarily was a backstory, but they said that in this article that I read that it was apparently haunted by like what they thought was an old lady, and I don't know why, but yeah. So we had our tea and stuff, and it was. So what did you had? You had a hot chocolate, and I had a chai latte,
whipped cream, marshmallows, the lot.
And we had some food as well, and yeah, the food was just so good as well. Enjoyed it a lot, and then just as we were leaving, so I'm a bit of as much as I've got a ghost podcast and stuff, and I'm very proud of it, and I enjoy it a lot. I'm a bit of a wimp when it comes to
Not very forthcoming with just chatting to random strangers.
Whereas
unlike me, I'll chat to anyone.
You just go up to anyone and be like, "Is this place haunted?"
Pretty much.
My boyfriend's got a ghost podcast, and yeah, the conversation goes from there. So
the girl, actually, the waitress, she was so lovely and friendly and chatty, like me, and she's only been there working for about a year.
She's only like a young girl, maybe like early 20s, if that.
Yeah, so lovely. As soon as I mentioned about we've heard this, it's haunted, she said that she's experienced a knife come flying across the kitchen and landed blade down, stuck in, I think it was a work surface or something, which was really scary.
She was basically saying like everyone that works there's kind of seen, heard stuff, and yeah, really freaky. What other stuff was she saying?
Oh, I think the till was talking to her, which, the skeptics out there could say technology going wrong. The Alexa, I think, was also doing weird things and responding, but she just said it was just very eerie, and the things it was coming out with was bizarre. Lockdown. She said about the clocks stopping.
Yeah. That's crazy. So they have a clock basically, just as you walk in on the left-hand side, and they said when lockdown happened, the clock downstairs and upstairs, they both just stopped working, like just during lockdown, and then,
again, skeptics. Well, maybe the batteries need changing, or I don't know.
But then they came back after lockdown. I'm sure a few of the staff were in there doing a few bits here and there. Oh yeah, I think they were. I read in the article, so they were doing some like, delivery boxes and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, during this time, so they were still in the buildings, and the clocks just all of a sudden stopped working, and as soon as lockdown finished, they kind of got back to work, back to normal with all the staff in. The clocks just started working again.
Yeah, we're forgetting the main story about that place.
Really? Go on.
The number 5.
Oh, the number 5. Yeah, that's one thing that definitely intrigued us. Just before we do that, with regarding the clocks, and remember, she also said that we can't. They can't have a clock on the stairs because every time they do, it just like falls and smashes.
Oh, I didn't hear her say that.
Yeah,
oh,
that's
weird.
one thing she said. Yeah, but yeah, so
it would if you put it up because you're not very good at the DIY.
I once put a guitar on the wall, and it's not the manliest of men. So,
the guitar holder thing that
Yeah, guitar holder on the wall, and forgot to put some raw plugs in. So
Just fell off the wall.
yeah, one I think we were in bed or something. We just hear my acoustic guitar just fall into the floor.
Or I think if anyone came to ours and removed any pictures or shelves on the wall, there's about 500 holes where Jamie's attempted, and he's got it right eventually. But yeah, if you took anything down, there's just holes in the wall. But
I mean, it still looks good.
I mean, yeah, the
holes
pictures
are
hide the
hidden.
walls. I mean, the pictures hide the holes.
But yeah. So going back to Tatum's
The
tea room. So the number
5, yeah.
The number
This
5.
was the story that kind of really made us want to go.
Yeah. So basically, it said in this article that they can't have a table number 5 because apparently this old lady or whatever spirit is resides in this little tiny tea room doesn't like the number 5, and yeah, I'm not sure they know why or whatever, but apparently if the number 5 gets brought up or something, then bad stuff starts happening.
Yeah, well, I remember her saying, I think the previous owner said that they couldn't have a number 5, things would start going terribly wrong. And then I don't know whether with the new owner because the waitress, the young girl, she did say, I think they attempted to have a table number 5, and then everything, the glasses were smashing at that table, things were going wrong. Yeah, and it's a weird coincidence or just really spooky, but...
Are you just quietly putting your wine glass down?
I was quietly putting my wine glass down.
I was like, okay. You've just gone very quiet all of a sudden. But yeah. And then, so yeah, we enjoyed that a lot. And then just as we were leaving, chatting to this young girl, and she was just so forthcoming with it. And so she was very willing to chat about it and tell us about her experiences and other people there's experiences, which was lovely. And yeah, it just kind of rounded off the really nice time we had in the tea room for the hour or so we were in there.
I feel like it's somewhere we definitely could go back, because she did say that a lot of other girls working there have experienced things and eerie stuff going on. So it'd be interesting to go back and speak to some other people and get their take on it. And it's just an excuse for me to go back because it was really nice.
Yeah, like I say at the beginning, it was one of the the nicest villages I think I've probably ever been to, like in the UK. It's just so picturesque and beautiful. And everyone there, every person we kind of met was just so lovely and friendly and very just welcoming. Everyone that worked in the shops and stuff. But yeah, it's just a stunning place and really recommend it to anyone.
And
but yeah,
Harry Potter fans.
And yeah, Harry Potter fans as well. So there's a couple of buildings there that have been used in a few of the Harry Potter films.
I need to go back and watch the films now and find the house.
So yeah, after we went to the Tatum's tea room, we took a little stroll, and then we came across a pub. Well, it's actually a hotel spa bar called the Swan, which was absolutely stunning. Like,
oh, I'm taking my mom there for her birthday. They do champagne afternoon tea, and she's gonna love it.
Yeah, such like, just Google it, like, if you're interested. But it's just this really big kind of Tudor-looking building from the 1500s with all the original wooden beams, and it's a huge building. So it's just lovely, and so we
quirky with different rooms, and it's just not it. Yeah, you've just got to see it. It's really nice. Definitely going back.
So yeah, we went into the RAF bar at the Swan initially, just as you walk in on the left-hand side. And yeah, it's really cool in there. They had...
You mean right-hand side?
No, left-hand side.
Is it left-hand side?
Yeah, remember, I'm always the one that's right.
Oh, yeah, that's what
You're
you
always
think.
the one that's left.
I mean, to be fair, my sense of direction's awful, so I...
Yeah, it was on the left.
Right. Left.
The left. And yeah, so we walked in there, and
not that it actually really matters.
Not that it matters where we walked, but we went to the left, as I say, and we just got a nice pint, and you got like a J2L or an orange juice or whatever it was, and we had a little roam around and sat down, and little one was asleep at this point, so we'd heard a story about room 15 at this place, at the Swan, because like I say, it's also 15. A hotel. So me being me and didn't want to walk around like a weirdo, filming this place,
Whilst people are having their champagne afternoon
or
teas.
standing there in their dressing gown at the spa, or
Oh yeah, it looked like there was a nice spa.
and so I just gave you my phone and said, I don't suppose you could just go and find room 15 and just film it for me. And you being you went, oh yeah, of course, no worries.
I
You
thought it'd be less dodgy me going around
You
than
thought it'd be less
you
dodgy?
in your hoodie and your beanie looking a bit maybe out of place.
So basically, I looked like a tramp, and you
I wouldn't
looked
say
all
tramp,
you
but I
looked all
just looked a bit
glamorous.
smarter.
And
More
yes,
like I belonged there. That sounds awful.
oh yeah, cheers, thanks. Keep putting me down, why don't you?
No.
And yeah, so you went off, and next thing I knew is you're walking along with one of the bar
Oh,
staff
the
or whatever,
reception guy.
receptionist.
He'd only been there a couple months as well. It was so helpful. Just randomly walked up. I couldn't find room 15, basically. Sense
found
of
every room
direction is
but.
awful. A lot of rooms there, Found lots of, room 20 to 40 up this way, and just couldn't find the start. So I thought, I make my life easier. Unlike you, men don't ask for directions. I just went straight up to the receptionist and said, can you tell me where room 15 is? And he was like, are you staying here? I was like, no. I was thinking, quick, what do I say? I was like, but I've heard about some ghost stories.
He was looking at you thinking, you're way too poor to stay here.
Hey. I was like, when something sounds good in your head and it comes out and you think, what's he going to think? I literally just stood there and said, no, I'm not a guest here, but I've heard that room 15 is really haunted and I just wanted to take some videos of it.
He's just thinking, oh God, here we go.
He said, well, there are guests in there at the moment. I was like, oh no, I don't want to go in the room, just outside. He's like, oh yeah, sure, come with me.
Just want to see it.
So he literally showed me the way to room 15 and stood there whilst I took some videos, which I'm sure you'll see on Your Ghost Stories Instagram page.
Yeah, so I'll be posting a little
That
reel
was
on...
me.
Only the number 15, to be fair. All the rest of the video was my handy camera work.
I'm not that good. And I was telling him about Jamie's podcast, and he's only been there a couple of months, but he's like, oh wow, yeah, I've heard some stories of room 15. I was like, oh, tell me more. But actually, some people refuse, some that know about this ghost story, refuse to stay in that room. If they come to the hotel and they unluckily get room 15, they're like, nope, don't want to stay there. Something he told me that guests had been woken up in the middle of the night, staying in room 15, to an old lady standing over them shouting, dig, which was pretty weird. And the only thing they can think of is that the Swan used to be, I swear he said it was like an old wool mill or wool... I don't know.
Well, the whole area
term.
of Lavenham was for like textiles, wasn't it? Back in like the 1500s, that area
woven textiles.
That whole area got super rich from textures.
I think she was trying to make them work, which you don't want to do when you're on holiday. But there's been some more stories about room 15 as to why this property is haunted. Can I carry on with that, or do you want to say?
Enlighten us, please do. Okay,
well, firstly, the Swan is a former 15th century inn, then becoming a coach house, but is now a prestigious luxury hotel. No one, however, has told the ghost in room 15 this.
Dun, dun, dun.
Cue Your Ghost Stories.
Oh yeah, so before we get into that, if you've ever heard, which, if you've listened to this every week, which quite a lot of you do, and if you've ever heard the this, go on.
Your Ghost Story.
Just know that it is my lovely partner
me.
whispering and doing the little...
randomly you called me up from downstairs
probably,
watching Friends.
You're probably like, we watching Friends, were you? Of course you were.
And then you're like,
probably
can
feeding
you just,
the little one. And I was like, Sammy, can you just come up here and just whisper your ghost stories?
So you did it quite well. That would work.
I mean, I tried it like 10 times, but it just wasn't spooky enough. So I needed like a female, scary, it's a bit more... Whoa.
Eerie. Actually, when he played it back to me, it gave me the creeps.
So add some reverb, add some echo. Happy days. Okay. But yeah, anyway, back to room 15.
Okay, so a housekeeper who once lived in the Swan back when the hotel was a thriving coaching inn in the 19th century, fell pregnant out of wedlock. The baby's father was happy to marry the lady under the circumstances and promised to look after them both. However, on the wedding day, the gentleman had second thoughts and left the pregnant lady standing at the altar. After that, she became inconsolable and very depressed. What is now room 15 in the Swan Hotel was once the housekeeping quarters, and it is said that the poor woman was found hanging in the room by one of the inn workers a week after she was supposed to have gotten married. No one knows what happened to her poor child.
But there was a few more theories, aren't there? That's not the only one.
There is. Another version of the story tells of the same lady hoping for a promotion whilst working at the inn, but instead was overlooked, which sent her into a deep depression. A different take on the story, but it ended much the same, with her hanging herself in room 15. So very, very grim. Just reading that makes me not want to stay in room 15.
So by the sounds of it, and it seems to be on record that whatever the story, however it goes, that a young lady did hang herself in that room.
And her ghost remains behind to chill the spines of those that dare to cross her path, and also as a warning to all newlywed brides.
Mm-hmm. So if you're planning on getting married,
or have newly been married, don't stay at room 15.
Just don't go to Lavenham for a bit. Maybe leave it a few
years.
But
just avoid room 15.
Yeah.
But further sightings. So a security guard was working alone late one night at the Swan Hotel. As he was doing his final checks around the hotel, he came into contact with her, which scared him out of his wits and sent him speeding in the other direction. Several guests have reported to have seen her standing in room 15 in the middle of the night. Oh, creepy. Mm-hmm. No.
Didn't you say there was something funny that happened as well?
Oh, there is. So another, again, room 15, not supposedly, but once a nun was staying in that very room when she awoke startled to feel the ghost tickling her feet.
I'm having none of that.
I mean, the ghost could have been doing worse things.
I think you just missed my joke.
Oh, none of... Oh, very funny. Oh, God. One of the best stories I read about room 15 has actually a perfectly rational explanation. So a member of the staff walked into the room 15 to see Cardinal Wolsey in his full red cassock, rochette, mazzetta, and wide-brimmed hat over his brietta. Oh, I know. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right, so sorry if... Anyway, the Cardinal was aiding a half-naked nun either into or out of her stockings and habit. The poor maid did not stop to ask, and for the next week the talk was of Cardinal Wolsey, the seducer, only to discover that the two ghosts were guests at a fancy dress party further down Water Street, and the Cardinal had been helping his wife get dressed or undressed.
So basically, if I got this right, through all your pronunciations, so basically this guy was dressed up as what's a cardinal, like a soldier or some kind of army person, and so he's basically, there's some guy and his wife going to a fancy dress party down the road,
and either wanted a bit of whatnot before,
and the maid walks in and thinks there's some 15th century or some ghostly figure, in fancy,
No, a cardinal.
Go on, what is it?
He's a senior member of the clergy of the Catholic Church. Got that totally.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes more sense. I think we're thinking of colonel.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, basically this guy.
So they're looking very religious.
This maid walks in and sees this very. Oh, I can see a picture of him. He looks a bit like the Pope. So yeah, this maid walks in, sees this guy, and
a half-naked nun
that look like they're from the 15th century or whatever, and she just like freaks out and was like, screw that, and walks out. And she obviously thought it was
found out
it's just someone in fancy dress. Brilliant. And then the last experience, so just before we went to leave, it wasn't really an experience.
Our third and final Lavenham ghost.
No, well, just before we left the Swan, so I just went to the toilet to
do number two.
Do some business. Like they needed to know that. It's been a bit backed up, so
Jimmy, they didn't need to know that.
Just so happened to be in that place. I was like, oh, where better in a nice
Posh.
fancy establishment, and the toilets were lovely. So I was like, and we only had one roll of toilet roll at home, and so I thought I'd make the
It was going to be more than one roll of toilet roll?
No, but I just thought I'd make the most of the nice posh soft toilet roll while I'm there.
We have soft toilet roll.
Anyway, so I'm sitting there on the toilet doing my business, and I can just keep hearing like a little faint knock. I'm like, oh God, no, like not now. Like why am I hearing that? And
not when you need when you're in the middle of a poo.
No, I mean too much information. But yeah, I just kept hearing this knock, 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 and then I just obviously ignoring it, like thinking, oh God, I'm just gonna
continue with the poo.
So yeah, I'm just trying to get back to you as quickly as possible, trying to just figure out what this random knocking was. And
I think it was a ghost.
After a few rounds of knockings, I just heard cleaning. I was thinking, oh, is this the ghost of a cleaner trying to get my attention? And but yeah, then I just carried on my business, and a couple of minutes later, washed my hands, came out, and thankfully there was a cleaner waiting outside. Embarrassingly, I've just been ignoring her. Well, I'm not going to talk to her while I'm doing my business.
Sorry, I'm busy.
Right. Anyway, that was too much information for most people, I'm sure.
Yeah, and it didn't really have anything to do with a ghost.
No, but it was funny because I thought I might. Oh no,
what's this place?
Yeah, that's what's on your mind, and it's the last thing when you're alone in this bathroom.
If I was a ghost, I wouldn't hang out in toilets. It's a bit grim.
Yeah, it's a bit weird as well, isn't it?
Watching people go to the toilet. Yeah, think of better places to be.
Anyway, so then, we visited one more place in Lavenham just before we left, and it's a national trust actually. But looking online, so it's called the Guildhall, I think it was called. And looking online, I couldn't actually find any ghost stories or anything, so I didn't bother filming or anything. We just went to go look around and just have a nice little stroll.
Cute, chatty Sammy.
So yeah, we walk in and there's this really lovely older gentleman on the desk, and he's very well educated about the area and the building. And so initially he told us about how the build, and he told us all about the area, and this building in particular was used for creating, was it wool? Not wool, textiles, like cloth, that was it. So this very specific type of blue cloth back in 1500s. And so yeah, there's 5 or 6 rooms. You can go downstairs to the basement, upstairs, and he just told us a little bit about the history of the place, and so we just had a roam around. Weren't in there very long, but also wasn't very, very expensive, compared to some other National Trust places that we've been. And I think we paid £8 or something. And we just roamed around looking. It was pretty cool as well because they had a lot of. It wasn't just about kind of textiles and cloth. It was also used as a prison at one point, or like a holding. What would you call it? Basically when some people were stealing and stuff.
Oh, like a prison?
It was kind of like a prison, yeah, yeah. In the garden there was actually a little prison. You didn't go out there, but I went and had a look, and there's just this really small building with cells, bars on it, which I couldn't imagine going in there. They looked horrible, dingy, cold. And yeah, so it's cool stuff like that as well, which I was surprised there's not been any documented ghost stories online that are quite. I think I did see Most Haunted had maybe done an investigation or something there, but I didn't hear any stories. And yeah, so it's just really cool to just roam around and look at. We're only in there 20 minutes, half an hour or so.
Well, yeah, because like you said, it's what they did there. It was the woolen cloth trade, but that building and what they did there made it one of the richest towns in England. So it's very famous.
That's what this guy on the desk was saying to us, is basically because they, as I invented this cloth, and they were sending it all around Europe at that time. It made Lavenham extremely, extremely wealthy. The people that were living there in that trade were just making a shed ton of money very, very quickly. And that's what there's all these beautiful buildings And but yeah, so then you stayed inside with the little one because she didn't have her coat on, and I went outside to just have a look around the gardens and this little jail thing. And just as I'm walking, Sammy always does this everywhere we go. Like I wouldn't just go up to someone and be like, "So is this place haunted? Do you have any ghost stories?" But as I was walking, I could see her through the window chatting to this guy on the desk, and I could lip read her saying ghost stories. I was like, oh, "Okay, here we go."
I didn't say it as freaky as that. Like, hey, do you have any
Ghost stories.
stories?
But yeah, I could just tell what she was asking him, which I don't mind, and
You're welcome.
I appreciate you doing it because I wouldn't have the balls to just go up to someone because
You probably.
I think they're gonna think, oh, who's this idiot, and ghosts and stuff is not for everyone, but surprisingly, every person you've approached about it has been very forthcoming, and
I think they're very open, whether they're a skeptic or not. They're very keen to talk about whether they believe in ghosts and had experience, or if they're a skeptic and why they don't believe in ghosts. So it's quite interesting either way.
But yeah, I mean, I'll leave this to you because you had the conversation with him. So yeah, what did he say?
Oh yeah, so he had some ghost stories of his own, not necessarily at the Guildhall.
Yeah. So yeah, I walked in at this point and he did go on to tell us that when he was very, very young, about
3 or
5, I think he
4.
said about 5, 4 or 5, yeah.
No, it was 3 or 4.
Okay,
But
yeah.
I mean, you said 4 or 5, so.
And so his
I
mum
thought
was.
I was telling the
Oh,
story.
sorry. Go on, treat yourself.
Well, he said that. Oh, now I'm worried I'm going to miss bits out, and you'll wish you told it. But when he was younger, he'd go to bed and he would feel somebody sitting next to him and could feel and hear their heavy breathing. And bless him, at such a young age, it freaked him out. And he used to tell his mum, but he said his mum was very sort of aware of
Very
sort
sensitive.
of, yes,
Ghost
ghost spirits. So was a believer, but at such a young age, he told us that he referred to this spirit ghost sitting on his bed. He felt them, the dip in the bed. You can just sense if someone's next to you and the breathing. He called them a hippopotamus.
No. He said that the only thing he didn't know anything about ghosts or anything.
Of
Never
course,
heard about
he
ghosts.
said he was so young,
But
he
said
didn't know what a ghost was.
The only thing he was scared of in the entire world was hippopotamuses.
So he kept telling his mum, the hippopotamus was sitting on my bed again last night. She's like, okay, dear.
And yeah, bless him. I mean, that must have been pretty terrifying. Did he something else as well? Did he say? Well, he said he hasn't necessarily seen anything in the Guildhall where he worked.
Oh yes, going back to the Guildhall, which has probably been more relevant. He was doing sort of checks at night, closing up and just checking everything was in the right place and nothing's been tampered with, etc.
So first of all, yeah, he said that if he's there at night or whatever doing these checks, when he's upstairs on the first floor, he said he just gets this real uncomfortable feeling, and something's just kind of not right up there.
That cold chill.
And then the other story that he told was so there's an attic which is closed off to the public, but the staff every now and then have to do these checks. And he was saying one day he went up the stairs to this attic, and on the second to top stairs was these photo frames that were normally hung in one of the rooms where the public can go. And he went down to his boss's office and said, "Oh, why are these photo frames here?" Like thinking she'd just moved them.
Well, it was so odd, wasn't it? Because he's going up the stairs and they've just been placed.
Yeah, they're just sitting on the stairs. Yeah. And he said she went white, and he said
she went
he said
pale.
What photos were they?
No, I think it was she asked which photos, and when he said which photos, she went pale.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so he told her which photos it was, and she was like, "Oh God!" And she said that's happened before with those exact same photos.
The exact same photos.
She said like none of the staff had
around.
anything. Yeah, none of the staff had moved them. But they just randomly, this one set of photo, which was 2 specific guys from, I think, World War I or something.
I can't remember.
Because it was from the World War I room. And yeah, so these photos just kept kind of they just keep randomly appearing in this.
Being moved.
Yeah. And then, I think, was that the only story that he told?
Yes, there was the story about when people were used to live there, or They used to make these marks above
Oh yeah, so this is
fireplaces.
not really like anything to do with kind of ghosts or anything. Obviously,
Well, it was to
witches and
prevent
stuff.
witches,
Yeah,
spirits, demons.
that in that period, obviously, people were a lot more superstitious, and there were, what claimed to be witches and stuff, and
The
witch
only way to get
hunters.
in was through the chimney.
Yeah, because that was the only open access, he was saying.
Mm.
So all the doors and windows are obviously shut, but the chimney's kind of open. And yeah, if you look as you walk in on the very right hand side, the first run above the fireplace, there's loads of these notches in the wood, which look like, claw marks or scratches. And yeah, he said those were done back then to prevent evil, spirits, witches, evil forces from coming down the chimney.
Yeah, it was quite eerie looking at them, sort of all the marks made, because obviously they strongly believed they were doing that to prevent spirits. So,
But he was such a lovely, forthcoming, welcoming guy, and very happy to share his stories.
yeah, and he said he's got a few more, so
Yeah.
hopefully he might
I
make an
left him.
appearance.
I left
one
him with
episode.
the website, and he sounded pretty keen to come on and have a chat. So hopefully he will. Hopefully we'll hear from him, and because he's a very good storyteller as well.
Oh,
The
so
way,
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah,
fascinating guy. So it'd be great to get him on, and if he's listening to this, please do email us and get in touch, and we'll do that episode because we'd love that.
And correct us on anything we might have got wrong there.
Yeah.
But
But yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up our trip to Lavenham today.
yeah, we'll definitely be back though.
Yeah, it was a great day. Definitely go back, and there's more places to visit as well. So when I was looking online, I think it's someone's house. I don't think you can go in there, but there's something called the De Vere House, which has lots of stories. There's the Crooked House, which has a lot of stories, which you can also see online.
Can't miss it. It's bright orange.
Where we parked the car as well, there's I think there's another pub, and it's called the Angel, and I saw that has some stories as well. So I think, as it's only half an hour up the road from us, we'll probably go back and check out some of these other places, and yeah, chat to some more people. But yeah, it was good, really good day, and I'd totally recommend it to anyone that lives kind of in this area. It's worth the drive as well. We've visited so many places in the UK, and this place, Lavenham in Suffolk, really stood out. It's just such a nice place.
Your ghost stories. Your ghost stories. Sorry, I can't take you seriously sitting there in your box.
Well,
it's a good job it's not being filmed.
Yeah.
Not that you'd.
Right, so anyway, yeah, I'm going to go put some clothes
Boxers
on.
and socks. And a t-shirt, obviously.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to go put some clothes on and wash up some bottles and get back to reality. But yes, thank you, Sammy, for joining me. Hope everyone listening at home has enjoyed Sammy on the podcast. I think it's different kind of to what we normally do, but it's been really fun, and I think rather than just being serious, and it's fun to just
chat
some.
I love a chat.
Yeah, Sammy loves a chat. If you haven't realised throughout this episode, she just loves chatting to anyone and everyone. So yeah, thanks Sammy for joining me, and I hope everyone listening at home has enjoyed it. And if you have, please do let us know on Instagram comments, or we're at TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. You can leave comments there and just let me know what you thought of this episode, and if you enjoyed it, we'll definitely get Sammy back. And every time we go visit these places, we can have a little discussion about it. And we will be doing another one, because recently, just over like New Year's, we went to Devon, where Sammy's from, where some of her stories in episode 11 came from. So if you haven't heard that, please do go listen to that.
Oh, that's going to be a good one. Some interesting facts about Torquay.
Oh yeah, we went to a couple of places in Torquay called the Spanish Barn.
Spanish Barn at the Abbey.
And then we went to...
And then near Totnes, or in Totnes, if I get that, Berry Pomeroy, one of the most haunted castles in England. That's
what the claim is, isn't it? One of the most haunted locations in England.
Yeah.
So yeah, we went there and just had a little roam. That's like National Heritage place, so you just pay a little admission fee, and yeah, we roamed around there. And Sammy's got some stories about when she was a bit younger. And
decided to jump over the wall at night with some friends and check it out. Seemed like a good idea at the time.
So we'll hear all about that in an upcoming episode. But yeah, hope you've enjoyed it, everyone listening. And yeah, like I say, please do let us know in the comments. And yeah, any last words, Sammy?
No, just definitely take a listen to the Torquay one, because there will be an interesting fact as to why you will find the most people in England that believe in ghosts live in Torquay.
Yeah, or if you want to find out a bit sooner, I think I'll probably talk about it. I'm going to do a couple of reels on TikTok and Instagram, just talking about the stories and stuff. So yeah, come find us at Your Ghost Stories Podcast.
Thank you very much.
All right, Elvis.
Pleasure chatting to you.
Thank you very much. Was it pleasure chatting to me or the guests?
Both. You, I guess.
I mean, the listeners.
The guests.
But yeah, anyway. Sweet dreams.
Sweet dreams.